Hey everyone. Oh geez, it's been too long. Hey don't make fun of me. Hey everyone, happy new year. I hope your 2024 is going well, and here's just a little update on things that have been going on here in the Bronx.
So on January 10th, we started back our English as a second language program, and students are still coming, and even though it's winter and cold, and we still have our wait list is growing. And so it's just been a sweet time of continuing to build relationships with our students. When they got back from the break, we had a review day of what they've been learning this past year, and then the next week we had a testing day. And so a lot of our students, I think, were challenged in a good way to know the material and to put into practice what they've been learning, especially prepositions of place are hard.
They're very hard.
They were hard. And so it was encouraging to see how students have been growing, and just praying that they'll continue to learn and not be discouraged in that. We also have a new volunteer helping with ESL, which has been just a huge blessing to have another hand. And so it's just been a great semester so far. Just felt like we jumped right back into it, and so it's been good.
With our kids ministry, if you don't know, January in New York is very cold. And it was cold where I was at growing up, but what I tell people here is that I didn't have to go out in the cold in Oklahoma. I could get in a car, drive, and then walk maybe 20 feet to get in a nice warm building. Here, you have to walk 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks to get to your church. And so there's a lot of incentive not to go to church. And so January and February typically can be pretty low for churches here in the city. But the Lord has been good that we haven't been. Each Sunday since the beginning of the year, we've consistently seen people come to our first service, and with our kids service, families have been coming. Families that have been consistent over the past years, but also some new families that have been in every once in a while. And so it's been cool to be back with the kids, get to teach them and to be back together. Back in December, we were talking about the story of Christmas, and now we are back in the Old Testament talking about David. And also, we have had some extra help. There's been a lot of our leaders who have not been feeling well, who have dealt with health problems or family problems or things going on that just couldn't be at church. And if you're a part of a kids ministry, you know you need help. You need help with teaching, planning. Sometimes you just need bodies in the room to make sure kids aren't slapping each other. And so this month, the Lord's provided. There's an intern at the NYBA who's here living in New York City and has been coming to our church, and she's been a blessing, helping us with kids ministry and even ESL on Wednesdays at times when she can be. And so the Lord has just been providing help in different ways, and we've been able to see this ministry continue to grow and for Him to continue to bless it. So it's been really sweet to jump back into. With our teen ministry, it's really cool, again, just to look back to where we were a year ago. A year ago, we didn't know if teens were going to come to study hall, much less Bible study, but we got back and we opened up study hall at 2:30, and all of our normal students came in. They were talking about how much they missed us and how glad they were for us to be back and for study hall to be happening, and even for Bible study, which is super cool to see where God has brought us and what He continues to do. One of the days for Bible study, we had 5 students that were there, and 2 of them don't typically come to Bible study. We also get to hear just, again, the brokenness of families, the things that our students are going through, that they're dealing with, and it is just a blessing that we get to be people who point them to hope, point them to truth, to point them to peace, to point them to Jesus. It's been such a gift to be able to do that, and talking about how God's provided help. Our helper who's been coming to ESL has also been helping with our youth stuff. He loves chess and he loves teaching chess, and so he'll come in during study hall and teach students how to play chess and give them tips and stuff, but he's also been staying for Bible study and just helping and hanging out, which is what I've needed. And so God has been good to provide help that we need, and I'm just excited to see what the Lord's going to do with this ministry.
If anyone wants to play chess, I now know how to learn.
Yeah, she'll whoop you.
Also this month, we started back up the Blessing Bag Ministry, which, for those of you that don't know, each month the church provides 100 bags of groceries to people in our neighborhood. And so oftentimes we get to see the same faces coming each month to get groceries. And we have volunteers in our church that take prayer requests and we pray for the people that come. And so it's just a sweet ministry that we get to be a part of, and it's sweet to see people in our church that come together and they pack these bags, and they're just so excited to be able to serve in this way. And so it was great to be back. Our last blessing bag giveaway was Thanksgiving, so it's been a while. And so it's good to be back. And even though it was a rainy day, which we joke about, it's always got to rain on Blessing Bag Sunday. Even though it was rainy, we still were able to give out all the bags. And so hopefully that will just continue to be a blessing to the people in this neighborhood and point them to Christ and to come to our church. Also on Blessing Bag Sunday, we had a baby dedication, which was super sweet, just to have our church rally around families with kids and to say they need God to help them to raise these kids. And so it's just always sweet to see our church get excited about things like this. Also, after the bags were given out, Jordan had a baptism class, and it looks like we have a good group of candidates for baptism, hopefully on February 18th. And so that's always exciting to see people come to know the Lord or know that they need to take that next step of faith in their walk with Him. So just we're excited and looking forward to February 18th.
Lastly, we also started our small groups in the past couple weeks. Last semester, we had our super small groups where individual groups were meeting throughout the week, which we're going to be doing starting next month. Right now, we've been meeting all together on Wednesday evenings. And so that's just been a sweet time to get to be back with our church and to see how they're doing and to hang out. The first week, we talked about being intentional to share the gospel with those around us. And so we made concentric circles of like, who are our loved ones that need to know Jesus and that are struggling? Who at work or our friends need to know Jesus? What places do we go to often? Our third place is what it was called, apart from work or apart from home or school, that we get to see people and being intentional to build relationships, and not just friendships, but to point them to the true hope that we have, which is Jesus. And so it was good personally to do that, to think of people, okay, there's people in my building, there's neighbors that I have that I've been around for 2 years that I could be talking to. Hannah and I go to the gym, a few times a week, and we get to see people there often, get to have conversations. And are we being intentional to love them, to pursue them, and to ultimately point them to Christ? And so we did that. And then last week we talked about the importance of sharing our testimony, because the goal of witnessing and as for us as believers is to point people to Jesus. And if we don't know how we were pointed to Jesus and having that moment of we professed Him and confessed Him and follow Him, if we don't have that down for ourselves, how are we going to be able to tell other people why they need Jesus and what He can do for them? And so knowing our own testimony and also just sharing it together, being open and honest about what God has done in our lives and what He's doing. So that was really sweet. And so looking forward over the next few weeks as we get together to practice these skills, to grow in them for next month when we start our super small groups back up in full swing.
So I have some upcoming ministries for you, and then also some prayer requests. So as previously mentioned, we'll have a baptism on February 18th. And so we're excited for that, excited for these people. You can also just be praying that nothing would hinder these people from coming and being baptized and proclaiming that they follow Jesus. And so that's February 18th. And then also before that, the week before, on February 11th, we're having another Super Bowl of Love, which is a Super Bowl Sunday, of course, but it's the day that we have our married couples and our engaged couples, and we provide a lunch and just encouragement time and some games, and just to celebrate marriage. Marriage is a gift from God, and it points to God, and so just to be able to honor that. So we're excited for that Sunday and excited just to be together and celebrate love. So some things that you can be praying for, you can be praying for ESL, just praying that our students wouldn't get discouraged. I tried to really encourage them after the test. You guys are doing good. And just to keep learning, keep practicing. And so hopefully what they did miss on the test would just encourage them all the more to practice English. Also, I'm on the hunt for Bibles for our students in each of their native languages. And so my heart with that is that our students' hearts would be open to receiving a Bible. And so you can just be praying for that as just trying to bridge the gap between Christ and learning English to meet the physical need, but then ultimately to meet the spiritual need. So you've been praying for that. You've been praying for our kids ministry. With that, I would just say be praying for the families that come.
Yeah.
There's a lot of health issues or family issues, and so just be lifting up those families, especially those that do not know Christ, that they would come to know Christ and come to know just the hope that we have in Him. With our teen ministry, you can just continue to pray for our students. They are going through a lot, and I just pray that they would just desire to stay for Bible study, and also pray for their parents' hearts that they would let them stay for Bible study. And we've just been praying for one of our students who accepted the Lord last semester, that him and his family would come and that they would be baptized, and so far that hasn't happened yet. And so just be praying that students and their families would begin coming to church. You can be lifting up our small groups, that our church would be equipped to make disciples, and just that our church would also be receptive to these super small groups, and that it would just be a joy to attend and to go and to grow in our faith together. Lastly, you can be praying just for our church as a whole, that God would raise up leaders. God knows exactly what we need when we need it, and He's been so faithful to provide that. And I'm in awe of His perfect timing and all that. But my hope and my prayer is that God would just continue to grow our church, so that we're ready for whatever He has next for us.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We're excited for another year. This will be year 4 for us come this summer that we'll have been here in New York City, and just to think of what God has done since 2020 and the prayers that He's answered. And I was just telling Hannah today, man, my walk with the Lord has had its ups and downs, and questioning and worrying and anxiety. And I was just thinking today, like, none of this would have happened without God. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not wise enough to get where we are, to provide for the things that we have, if it wasn't for the Lord. And the past 4 years have been a testimony to His goodness and His grace. And we're thankful for you guys, for your prayers, for us, for your encouragement, for those that we get to see in person, oftentimes for the love you show us, for those of us that we never get to see you, yet you support us and you pray for us. We can't thank you enough for what God has done through you. And just thankful for your support. For those of us who support us financially, we wouldn't be here without you. So thank you for providing a way for us to work here, to serve our church, to be committed to what God has called us to. So thankful for you. We're praying for you guys often, that the Lord would bless you and take care of you and your families. We're excited to share with you what God's going to do the rest of this year. And with that being said, we're going to shut up now.